Welcome to We Are Guitar, where we celebrate hardworking students from lead guitar programs around the U.S. and connect with musicians of note from every tradition where you find guitar. I'm Brad Richter, joining you from Guitar Salon International in Santa Monica, California. Our guest, composer and guitarist Sergio Assad, has had a profound impact on the way guitarists approach composing for their instrument, and he's pushed the boundaries of guitar technique for players everywhere. His expansive collection of original music for guitar and guitar ensemble includes some of the most widely performed and technically challenging pieces ever written. We had a conversation about composing and family music making that I'll share with you in a minute. And Sergio is also going to join us in an ensemble performance of the Italian Renaissance piece Pezzo Tedesco. Grab your guitar if you'd like to play along. Roosevelt University professor and lead guitar's regional director for Chicago, Denis Azabagić, will join us later for another mini masterclass. He's fresh off a Friday night concert in New York and has some helpful advice about establishing the kind of practice habits that took his playing to the next level. And we'll get started with the touring ensemble from Maryvale High School in Phoenix, where more than 150 students are enrolled in guitar classes for up to 4 consecutive years. It's always a pleasure to hear what all that exposure and practice turns into.
Hi, I'm Jesus from Maryvale High School's touring guitar ensemble, and today we'll play for you Summer Salsa by Miroslav Loncar.
Hello, my name is Miss Griffin. I am the music teacher here in Chicago, at Ambrose Plummunden Elementary, and this is my 4th year teaching music. I want to know, what is your favorite thing about learning guitar this year?
My favorite thing about guitar is that it's challenging and it helps you move your fingers. But at first it could seem hard, but then as you go on, it turns easy.
One of my favorite things about guitar is how challenging it is, and you don't have to be an expert to learn multiple songs at once.
My favorite thing about guitars is learning how to play new things and learning how to play new songs. And one thing that surprised me is how to switch strings.
One of my favorite things about guitar is actually how the pitch goes high and low. My favorite thing about playing guitar is learning how to play in an ensemble.
I find guitar pretty enjoyable as I have been able to learn many songs without needing that much practice.
My favorite thing about guitar this year was multitasking with 2 hands and strengthening my fingers. My favorite thing about guitar is that you can learn new music like 1, 2, buckle my shoe, 3, 4, open the door.
My favorite thing about guitar is I get to learn new things and new songs.
Sergio Assad is considered by many to be the greatest living composer of guitar music, but he first rose to acclaim as a virtuoso player, along with his brother Odair. The Washington Post at the time dubbed the Assad Brothers the best 2-guitar team in existence, maybe even in history. So for students who don't know their playing, I'd like to introduce my conversation with Sergio by sharing a performance from 43 years ago, around the time the duo first came to the United States from Brazil and absolutely stunned audiences with their playing. Check this out. Sergio, welcome to We Are Guitar. We're so very excited and honored to have you on the show.
For me, it's a big pleasure to be here.
So, when thinking about your career, you've toured and recorded with some of the most admired musicians on the planet, and you yourself are among those most admired musicians on the planet. But given your family history and what we were talking about offline, I have to imagine that your favorite musical memories are ones that you made with your family. So if you don't mind, just share a couple of favorite memories of making music with your parents, your brother, your sister, your daughter. What comes to mind?
Okay. Well, my parents, they were amateur musicians, but never left Brazil until the experience of forming a group. That we formed this family group. And actually, we had a tour here in the US. That was in 2003. And we performed about, I think, 12 concerts altogether. The first concert was scheduled at the Met Museum in New York. So that was really frightening. But we were so nervous that we didn't want to, to make their debut of the parents, in a stage like that. So we organized a concert. Actually, Thomas Humphrey, our friend, organized a concert in New Paltz, where he has moved to upstate New York. So that was a warm-up for our concert in New York. But we had a surprise. One of the people in the audience was Yo-Yo Ma. He came to surprise us. It was just nice to see him with our parents. That was a really good beginning, good vibration for the beginning of the tour. So when we came the next day to play at the Met Museum, my mother was a sensation. She was so serene. She walked on stage as this was part of her life. And she was actually the big hit in that tour, you know. My father was afraid, but my mother, no, she controlled the stage. And we played this set of concerts all over, and she was praised by the LA Times, actually, as the Brazilian Billie Holiday. Yeah. She was really fascinating to watch. And my father actually turned 80 years old when we played at Stanford, at the University of Stanford. And my parents couldn't speak a word of English, so I told the audience that it was his birthday, and they all sang happy birthday to him, right?
Oh, wow.
Oh, he was just in tears, it was so emotional. Though that's very memorable. It's besides music, but as a family creating music together, there was, those moments that are really family.
And your dad played mandolin and your mom was singing on that tour?
Singing, that's right. Yeah. My father was a very good musician that, learned by ear, and had a fantastic memory. So he learned all these shows by Jacó do Bandolim or Valdir Azevedo. I don't know how he learned them because he had his job. He was working, fixing watches and stuff like that. And I never saw him actually taking these pieces because he would, imagine, get the old, LPs or vinyl records, the 78 rotation one, the small ones, and play it back many times until he would get right the shoulders. And they are hard shoulders to play, but he managed to do it on his own and had this huge repertoire. So he forced us to learn all of them. So we built this huge repertoire. In the first year, we started playing with him, actually.
Since you started playing when you were 12, was the house filled with music, ages 0 through 11? Was it kind of in your blood, just hearing it all the time?
All the time. I had the impression that everybody who came to our house would play an instrument, would play mostly guitar. There was a lot of guitarists coming. So it would be very confusing to us if someone sat on the sofa and didn't play the guitar. Perhaps for that reason, we didn't try ourselves, until it was sort of late when I actually got the guitar in my hands for the first time at 12. But I had the impression that I could play it any day. That I sort of knew for sure that if I put it under my fingers, I could play it.
What has music given you that is a surprise, or to our students who are watching this, that they might not imagine music gave you?
Well, first thing, I think music gave me my instrument, and I tell you why. Life is filled with good and bad moments. That's the way it's going to go. Alternation of good periods and some ones that are not as good. And the guitar for me is a friend that I can rely on. It's a true friend, regardless of my problems in life. It's going to help me to go through things. So music, it's a good thing for everyone. But you need an instrument. You need something to express. And a guitar, it just fits me really, really well. It's an instrument that I love, that I learned to love when I was a child, and I still love it today. I still struggle with it. So it's a friend, but that can be annoying sometimes. It has its own life.
Well, thinking of young people, we have some students from Bernie Harris Lyons School in Athens, Georgia, that have a couple of questions for you.
Hi, my name is Jasmine, and I'm a member of the Bernie Harris Lyons 8th grade guitar class. We have a few questions we would like to ask.
My name is Isaac, and our first question is, which composition would you consider to be among your personal favorites and why? My name is Leonardo, and our last question is, as a performer and composer, what challenges have you faced and what motivated you to keep going?
Thank you. Bye.
One of the compositions that I really like, and normally go like this, you write a lot of music, and you like them, but not that much. Maybe because you created them, I don't know. But there's one really special for me. It's called, the name is Menino. Menino is a song mostly that I wrote in homage to my brother, but my brother Jorge, not Odair, my older brother. My older brother, he was born with problems. He was epileptic, and he had a brain damage when he was born. So he stayed all his life as a boy. You know, he had the mentality of a 10 years old kid. But he was adorable. And he passed away when he was 64. And then I created this song called Menino. Menino means boy, right? That is very naive tune, but really moving song. Then when we first started to play with Yo-Yo Ma, I showed him this song because he wanted to hear things that I composed. He loved this tune. I said, why don't you arrange for us to play? And I made a version of Menino for cello and two guitars that we recorded. Actually, was recorded in his CD in homage to Brazil called Obrigado Brasil. And that piece has been a hit. A lot of people play it. And actually, Yo-Yo is playing it again with Cassie Stott in a version for cello and piano now. So it has this, emotional attachment to the song. That's why it's my favorite, I would say.
I have to imagine when you're writing a piece about something so important as expressing the love for your brother, that also adds pressure because you really want to get it right in that instance. You really want it to be something that your brother will love and that will help people appreciate your brother as well.
Yeah.
So it's fun that it's had that extra couple of lives.
Yeah, it's still going on, it's just but it's true that you don't know how a piece is going to turn out to be. You can't sit there and say, I'm going to create this amazing piece of music. If it was like that, I would have created many songs as this particular one, because I think it is pretty, really beautiful. And I can create nice tunes, but there are some ones that are special. And you don't know where they came from. Like if they were dictated to you, there it is. That's the song you're looking for. But that happens, few times. It doesn't happen all the time.
Yeah, and those inevitably are the best pieces, the ones that come to you as if dictated to you.
Yeah, it's true.
Well, what about as a player and a composer, what were the struggles you had to overcome and how did you do it?
Well, there's a couple. I view myself nowadays more like a composer because I'm writing more than ever. And to answer this is the answer is related to what we were talking about before, is to sit here every day and say, I'm going to write a piece of music. What do you learn? You learn to use the tools that you have. A theme, you have even a few measures, you can work around them and create something that's nice. But that theme, that few measures, those are the hard ones to get.
The original kernel of the idea that everything revolves around.
Yes. It's sort of easy, but at the same time, it's not. Sometimes you come up with this very simple fragment, but it's so nice. So when you have something nice to work with, you can be sure that the result is going to be great.
So many guitarists, especially ones that are classically trained or classically oriented, struggle with improvising. And for our piece, Pezzo Tedesco, you're going to improvise along with our students who have recorded ensemble parts. what are some of your recommendations for how we can improvise better or approach it in a different way?
I could say, look, learn scales, learn a little bit of chords so you can play scales over the chords. But that's not actually creating stuff, right? I think improvising is removing one melody and replacing with another one. Many people get confused with that because they want to play very fast scales over the chords, even if the theme of they are actually improvising on has fewer notes. So the biggest challenge is try to create another sort of melody on top of the chord chart that they're using. That's a good advice. Not trying to play fast scales over the chords. That's what most of people do, actually, showing shops, so I can play really fast. No, it's to create lines, melodic lines.
Well, I can't wait to hear the results, which we'll hear in just a few seconds, really. But I'm really excited, really love the idea that you're improvising. We've never had an artist do that on the show before. And I think it's an important lesson for all of us that this is an area of music we also need to master. You were talking about, let's not all just be good at one thing in music. And this is another opportunity to find a new skill and develop a new skill.
Right. Well,
I'm just beyond honored to have you on the show.
No, please. It has been a pleasure for me to be here. And congratulations on this beautiful program you are putting here. It's very helpful to the kids. And I think we all need that. We need more music. We need more that kind of community. That's very important. For them, it's going to be very important. When they grow up, they will remember, their colleagues and the times they work together, participate in this kind of program.
There's so many things we learn about music besides the music, right? How to work together, teamwork, community making, and listening. How to listen.
Yes, true. I agree.
Yeah, well, thank you, Sergio. I'm looking forward to seeing what you write over the next couple of decades and continuing to listen.
Good. Yeah. Wish me more.
We all wish you.
Thank you so much, Brad. It's been a pleasure.
See you again soon.
Bye-bye.
That was an arrangement of Pezzo Tedesco, an anonymous Italian Renaissance piece written in the mid-16th century, and an opportunity for all of us to collaborate with Sergio Assad in recreating a piece that's been played on guitar-like instruments for 500 years. It's good stuff. Turning now from ensemble music to solos, our Circle of Soloists compilation features lead guitar students from Atlanta, Chicago, Phoenix, Tucson, and Los Angeles, and actually includes a couple of duos for the first time. Let's listen.
name is Amanda Limon, and I am the music instructor director at Drachman Montessori K-8 here in Tucson, Arizona. I have been teaching here since 2012, and my favorite part of guitar class this year has not only been myself learning a new technique on guitar, but also helping provide my students with another music experience.
My favorite part of guitar class this year was our first concert because I got to perform with my guitar in front of people. Meeting Freddie, he is super nice to us and he makes me feel confident when I play the guitar. My favorite part of guitar class this year was learning Twinkle Twinkle Little Star because it is calm and it's not too easy and not too hard. Learning how to play fire dance. It was pretty different than the other songs that we played because we're playing different notes at the same time. It was a little hard at first, but once we figured it out, it was my favorite song. I had fun learning the new stuff and getting to know the other students. And one last reason why I liked it is because I love the whole experience. Meeting new people and going on field trips. When we went to the Festival of Books, because I got to not do stuff on school grounds. It was an outside school thing. I got to see smiles on people's faces that I had never seen before.
It's time to welcome our friend Denis Azabagić to share some pro tips on practicing for our mini masterclass. Denis, it's good to see you as always.
Good to see you too, Brad, and I'm happy to share these tips. As you say, they are very, very important for our daily routine, daily practicing. As you said, establishing great habits is just something that you can build on and make your progress very, very fast.
That makes good sense, and that makes me think of several things. So one, as good as you are as a player, you still start with very simple exercises at the beginning of your warm-up.
Absolutely. One of the main exercises that I start is just warming up my right hand fingers one at a time. Like for example, thumb like this or index finger. Just sensing where the things are in terms of physical parameters for my hands. So yes, I do exercises. I also work on scales. Across the fretboard, right? So, but again, with a metronome from a slow practice where I feel comfortable and then slowly pushing the speed. That's another key element, right? You don't start right away very fast because you're gonna crash. So start at the speed at which you are comfortable and then progressively make your way up. That's the same like going in the gym, right? If you wanna build up your muscles, you don't start right away from the, oh, I'm gonna lift up really big weights. No, you're not going to do that. You're most likely going to hurt yourself. So start with something that is comfortable, that challenges you a little bit, right? So you have to determine, or let me rephrase it, not you, but follow your teacher's advice that will tell you at what speed you should be doing each exercise and how slowly to progress from there on.
One of the exercises I like to do very early on is just a simple raschiato exercise. So same as you, taking one finger but doing a back and forth strumming with index, and then middle, same thing, A finger, and I'll even use my C finger, a finger we never use in lead guitar and rarely use in classical guitar playing generally, but also exercising that helps get it a little bit more independence from the A finger, and then you can build up into more raschiato patterns where you're really getting all fingers to move together. So I think about that in terms of physical approach. Mental approach, I think one of the most important things to practicing is setting goals. So macro goals, you want to learn this piece over the next 2 months. And medium range goals in this practice session, I want to learn the first 3 lines of that piece, or I want to master the ending of that piece. And you practice until you get that done with that focus in mind. And then my favorite might be setting micro goals. I'm picking like a small phrase or 2 measures or 1 line of music, whatever it might be, something I'm struggling with, and I'll play it. It doesn't matter how fast, but I won't let myself move on until I've played it 5 times in a row without a mistake.
I cannot agree more with that concept. As a matter of fact, just yesterday I was teaching, and I was helping a student to break down a larger component of the piece into as small fragments as necessary that you can achieve to play it few times. As you said, your goal is 5, but with the student I was going through maybe 3, 4, 5 times. Just it could be just one single chord and one note before and one note after, because that's perhaps a very difficult part in the piece that needs to be solved. So the point is not to play, for example, especially I would say when you are learning a piece, a new piece, to go from beginning to the very end. If you do that, by the time you circle back to the beginning, you do not retain anything of what you have done already. So break it down, even if it comes to 2 notes at the time. If you can connect perfectly 2 notes, and that you know that every time you play those 2 notes, you are doing it exactly in the same combination of the fingers. So you cannot play it. It might be, I just want to add to this what you've said. It might be to your ear that you have played, you might notice that you have played that phrase perfectly, but you have played the phrase perfectly, but using different kind of fingers. You didn't really do that because you are not consistent. So even if you play something that it sounds to you that it's fine, you also have to be aware that you are doing it exactly every time in the same manner, because that will lead to a consistency and a very, very solid playing later on when you start increasing the tempo.
Well, that's fantastic advice, Denis. Thank you so much. And thanks as always for joining us to give our players tips that will take their playing to the next level. And I think these are some of the most important tips. Just generally, how do we think about practicing, especially when we're on our own without a teacher, without being in class? This is a big help.
Absolutely. And I'm, again, as always, glad to share this with our students. Thank you for having me one more time.
All right, Denis, I look forward to the next time. See you soon.
See you, Brad. Bye.
Hello, my name is Jamal. Today I'll be introducing the ensemble from Acero Cruz High School, and today we'll be playing Freight Train by Elizabeth Cotten. Thank you.
Before we say goodbye, I want to thank Sergio Assad again for lending us his time, talent, and wisdom. I also want to thank the many parents and teachers who helped encourage, make, and submit student videos, and our students who put in the extra work to learn an ensemble part or a solo and share it with our community. You make us all very proud. Let's close the show now with one more performance to be proud of.
I'm Jacob Ippolito, and we're from the Chicago Academy, and we'll be playing Ode to Joy.